We've all had a headache at some point, but today, we're not just talking about the pain. We're going to go deeper. We're going on a mission to figure out when a simple, everyday headache might actually be a serious warning sign. We're basically going to learn how to decode the body's secret language when it's trying to tell us something is critically wrong.
So, here's the big question, right? When does that familiar nagging pain cross the line into something genuinely dangerous? We're going to treat this whole thing like a medical mystery, and together you and I, we're going to find the clues that solve the case.
Okay, so our investigation starts by building a profile. It turns out, this dangerous kind of headache, it isn't random. There are 5 high-risk clues, 5 key pieces of evidence that, when you put them all together, they point to something much, much more serious. And here they are. Think of these as the 5 key files in our case. We've got demographic risk, chronology, those weird circadian and autonomic patterns, mechanical triggers, and finally, a really specific neurological sign. Each one of these is a piece of the puzzle, and trust me, together, they're going to reveal the whole picture. So let's open each file and see what's inside. All right, our first clue is all about demographics. Our investigation really starts to focus on a specific group, people over the age of 55. And this isn't about just any headache. The real red flag is a new headache showing up for the very first time in someone in this age bracket. That's an absolutely crucial starting point. Clue number 2 is the timeline. Now, this is not one of those sudden explosive thunderclap headaches that hit you out of nowhere. No, this is a slow burn. The pain starts, and then steadily, relentlessly, it just gets worse and worse over a period of weeks. That progression tells us something is building up, something is changing inside.
Now, this is where it gets really strange. The timing of the headache is a major clue. It's at its worst in the early morning, often bad enough to wake the person up from a deep sleep. And then comes this bizarre detail. They vomit, and right after, the headache actually gets better. Why on earth would that be? Let's just hang on to that question for a minute. It's a critical piece of the puzzle. Our fourth clue is mechanical. See, the pain isn't just there all the time at the same level. It actually spikes with specific physical actions. Bending down to tie your shoes, lifting a heavy bag of groceries, even a simple cough can trigger this sharp, intense increase in pain. It's almost like these actions are physically pressing on a sore spot deep inside your head. And our final clue, this one is a big one. The headache isn't happening in a vacuum. It's directly linked to a change in vision. Things start to get blurry. I mean, when head pain starts to physically interfere with one of your senses, that is a crystal clear sign that the nervous system is involved. So, let's recap. We have our 5 clues. Being over 55, a headache that gets worse over weeks, that weird morning vomiting thing, pain with physical strain, and blurry vision. They seem totally unrelated, right? But they're not. They are all pointing to a single, underlying physical mechanism. And this is where it all starts to click. When we do something simple like lie down to sleep for hours, or even just bend over to pick something up, we actually change the physical dynamics inside our head. These simple actions can create a pressure spike. Now, they're not the cause of the problem, but they are revealing a hidden weakness, the body's inability to handle its own internal pressure. This table just breaks it all down perfectly, connecting each clue to a pressure event. So, that morning headache? Well, that's from lying flat all night. It allows CO2 to build up just a little, and that increases pressure in the brain. The pain you get when bending or coughing, that's from something doctors call a Valsalva maneuver. It's basically what happens when you strain. It momentarily traps blood in your head, which, you guessed it, spikes the pressure. And the vomiting? That's the body's reflex to that high pressure. And the physical act itself can temporarily bring the pressure back down, which is exactly why it provides relief. It all makes sense now. Okay, now we get to the big reveal. We've connected the actions to pressure. So it's time to name the single culprit responsible for this entire collection of symptoms. And the answer? Well, it lies in thinking of your skull as a closed box. The culprit has a name, increased intracranial tension, or ICT. Your skull is a hard, rigid box. It's not like your stomach, which can expand after a big meal. Your skull can't stretch. So if something starts causing pressure to build up inside, there is absolutely nowhere for it to go.
And here it is. This is the crucial takeaway. All 5 of those clues we've been investigating, they are not 5 separate problems. They are all just different ways that one single, escalating physical force is showing itself. Rising pressure inside that closed box of a skull.
So let's be crystal clear about this main point. We are not dealing with 5 different symptoms. What we're hearing are 5 different echoes of one central event, and understanding that single cause is the absolute key to decoding this dangerous headache. So, if increased pressure is our prime suspect, how do we confirm it? How do we solve this case for good? Well, fortunately, there's a definitive way to look inside and see the evidence with our own eyes. The whole process is a direct chain of events. First, you have pressure becoming trapped inside the skull's closed box. Second, that physical pressure gets transmitted directly down the optic nerve.
You can think of it like a cable connecting your brain to your eye. And this leads to the third and final step. That pressure becomes visible as swelling at the back of the eye. It's a condition called papilledema, and a doctor can actually see it just by looking into your eye. It's basically a real-time pressure gauge for the brain.
And this, right here, is the bottom line. It is not a suggestion, it's a hard and fast rule. For any patient who shows up with this pattern of symptoms, an examination of the back of the eye for that swelling, for papilledema, is mandatory. It is the one test that confirms the hidden danger of increased intracranial tension.